Well, hello everybody, this is Frogman and welcome back to Satisfactory. Last episode we came out into the green fields and I promised that we were going to start building a few things out here to make a whole pile of steel, and I have since been rather busy as the moth is fixing to show you all. We're up here just riding for the giggles of it because I've got a good portion of the basic stuff done for at least the steel portion. So we're letting him do a little bit of work. We've got some things running into some awesome sinks, and I wanted to just kind of say a couple of things real quick before we kind of jump down there and took a look at any of it. Again, I'm not much of a builder. I'm not trying to make things look really pretty, but I do kind of want to at least, well, you know, separate all of the basic functions of what this project is going to be out into its, well, functions. And so the best way to do that really is to, well, get up on top of the moth and kind of look around, because you have a massive area out here to kind of build in and play around in and do various things with. So over here on the end, we finally, well, I just finally got it done, and I'm letting it run for a little bit, but we're currently working through all of the pipes and most of the concrete that we need. And flying around over here again, it's another one of those deals. You get to kind of see a few more things. There's some more copper, there's some more iron, there's some coal, there's the arch. There's some fun stuff. I believe there's some more iron right over here. I know there's another coal node on one of these hills. I think it's over there. And there's a bunch of limestone and some other things on this end. Plus, there's just a whole bunch of stuff out here that he's going to kind of show us, or he, she, whatever. It's going to show us. So we're going to take a flight back around. We're going to head back over that direction, and we're going to kind of, you know, be able to look things over. Now, one thing I do want to say, and I do want to say this just before we get too far into the episode, is recently, I guess since I got back from vacation, the Satisfactory episode series have been taking off, and it's been quite a few of you watching. So I do want to say thank you very much for all of you newcomers coming in. We've been having a little bit of fun. We're getting ready, for those of you that are just now joining, to start building a system that is going to allow us to produce a lot, and I'm going to say a lot of parts, so that we can, well, I should say a lot of parts, a lot of points for the awesome sink, so we can go ahead and buy what's left of the stuff in the awesome shop. And that is going to include at least one of every one of the trophies. So that's kind of my end game goal as well. So in between episodes, if you guys notice, we've also completed the those magnetic generation thingies, the field generators. Those completed while we were over, and they're currently being shoved into an awesome sink as well. So we're just kind of seeing what's going to happen with them. I'm kind of slowly building all the parts for the rockets, which we have up in the corner, and the rockets are going to kind of, we'll just put those together and get them over with. So essentially what we're going to look at out here, and I know he's taking his sweet time to do it, is we're just doing the base level of stuff out here as far as these nodes are concerned. These 7 iron nodes are all going to be running this iron ore into iron ingot factory, which we're going to take a real quick look at in just a little bit. And this is just the baseline of, if we feel like we need to be better, we can do a little better. That's just enough to keep a, 24 smelters or 24 foundries running, so that they can make all of the steel that we're going to be using. And we're using the iron ingot and coal recipe. I forget exactly what that is. And if we look over here, we've got a whole bunch of the coal that I went and pulled from way over there where that crater is, or that lake is back there. You can kind of see it. I still need to finish doing some decoration. I've got some ideas as far as how we're going to make that look really nice, but it's pulled in and it's done. So again, we did build a kind of a really cruddy concrete factory before last episode, and I'm since moved it over, and we're actually making the correct number of concrete that we need right now. And I'm gonna get off at this point. Thank you, Mr. Moth, for the nice ride, so we can kind of take a look at the rest of this. So again, like I said, we just barely got enough pumps to be able to put all of the water that we need in order to be able to make concrete. We're needing exactly 6.1 of those refineries to make all of the concrete that I'm planning on making, at least for the numbers. Now, the numbers tentatively, and this is tentative, very tentative, are now 20 of the modular frames. 20 of these, which we're going to need in order to be able to make 20 of the next step, which is going to be a little bit of fun. And those are going to be the pressure pressure conversion cubes, which I believe we need, yes, 20 of those and 40 of the radio control units. Radio control units are going to take an ungodly amount of time to get sorted, but I think we're going to be able to make them work, so we should have plenty of time. I'm having a little bit of fun doing the easier part first, but I think probably fairly soon we're going to have to start looking very seriously at jumping into making a massive amount of aluminum. Anyhow, carrying on with what's going on. I know we're kind of goofed around with this. Let's see. I think, well, we'll just do this for right now. Jump off of here. Everything is currently running into an awesome sync so we can kind of see what's going on. And we're going to be building this on a grid pattern, possibly so that I can make a kind of a cityscape system. I know I've got the buildings kind of far away at this point, but I figure it's going to take a good long time for all of this to populate, build, and even at the numbers we're talking about, it's going to cost us quite a bit of time just to get it to work. So what I'll probably end up doing is, all of these walls are temporary. I'm just trying to get an idea as to what I want to build here and whether or not we're going to make this any different. I may actually take this building and stack it on top of itself just because there is no real reason for it to be so long. But you know, if we decide we're not making enough parts, we can always just, well, go vertically. So hence the reasoning why we have the area actions mod. Once again, this little beautiful thing, I did go ahead and use it to build that building, which is pretty simple, fast, and easy. Just lay out one level, copy it, paste it, paste it, paste it, and then belt it. You're done. It's over with. So if we need to quadruple the size of that building, which we can do eventually, I just copy the entire thing and stick another one on top of it if I feel like it. I did want to kind of fly around with the moth at least a little bit because he will fly through here and he will end up flying right straight through any building that you have built in the area. So if you are going to build tall buildings in this area, look out for its pattern. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Let's start over here. We'll go down to where the corner is so we can see a whole bunch of stuff. We now have, I forget what I said, 7 or 8 or 9, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think there's 4 right over there, so 8. Of these impure iron nodes currently cranking out a little bit of iron ore. I'm running them at this level because if we stick one of these in here and try to double the processing for even this one, so like that 240, that's an ungodly amount of power for what we're going to get out of it. So right now I don't want to worry about playing with them as far as anything over what they would normally do. If we need, and I mean this very seriously, if we need more iron, again, all I have to do is come over here, copy this building, and stack it on top of itself, and then start throwing in the, whoop, I didn't want to do that. No, clear. I don't want that. Hit clear, place corner, gone. Okay, if we need to make more, if we feel like we're not making enough, or if we feel like we have enough power, well then all I have to do is just copy this, stack another one on top of it, and then up all of the miners to, you know, double their processing, or at least so that they output twice what they're currently outputting right now. Anyhow, we are using the special recipe that is an alternate that I have picked up just wandering around in the world, and I am also pulling in the concrete, I should say the stone, from back here. Now this one's been overclocked to where it's making about 600. This one is making 180, 380, 300. So it's like not 600, 480, 300. I was going to go use the one that was really close to that, and then I realized, well, what I'm going to try to do, I think, is we're going to try to just keep belts in some semblance of an organized system so that we can kind of make nice little structures to take care of belts and make them look nice. And this one needs a cap. We haven't gotten to that point. So we'll probably be running parts, pieces through various systems, and this is going to be one of them. I guess I can be wearing this, since most of this has got power. But anyhow, like I said, we're using the special recipe, which is a solid steel ingot, and this is the magic that is going to make this area beautiful for what we're doing. Because of the fact that we're taking a single iron ingot and a single piece of coal and turning it into, well, it's 2 into 3 basically, instead of the other way around, which this is a very important recipe once you get this. Steel ingot. You start out with this one, so it's 3 into 3, and then you eventually get this one, which is 2 into 3, and if you're crazy, you can run the compressed coal, getting 6 into 10. This is very, 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 very powerful when you start looking at some of the recipes that we're going to start using. So when we can make that much steel, well, then we can send that much steel over here. This is something like 1,440 steel per minute coming into this building over here, which is going to be making somewhere in the neighborhood of 960 steel pipe per minute that we're then going to use to build all of the stuff that we're going to need for all of those modular frames. Currently we're running them into, well, it's technically 2 480 belts coming into a couple of these, and we're just going along cramming stuff in it. So we're running things to make sure that everything is functioning correctly and we're not having any backups. It looks like I might actually be backed up slightly. Why do I do that? Just look like this. No, you're good. You don't have any pipe, very much pipe at all. We did have a problem, and I'm going to have to kind of let it just run its clearance out. So I may have to add a little bit more faster belts for this for a little while, but we're just going to kind of keep things going and see what it does. The next step in this process is we're going to take some of that steel that we have, these steel pipes, and we're going to build a encased industrial beam factory, because we're going to need quite a bit of encased industrial beams for what we're going to be building. Now, the beauty of the reason why I came down here, again, the reason why we came over here, is just about everything we need to build the modular frames is going to be here. Everything, I think all of the parts we need for the modular frames is going to be here, because we're not using the rubber recipe. So we've got all the concrete, we've got all the fun stuff, we've got everything. Part of that concrete is actually going to go into the modular frames. So we should be good to go on all that part, which gives us all of that iron over there to do the next big, fat, silly step, which is going to be, we have to actually make the basic modular frames, which we're going to use a lot of that iron and probably some of the coal that I drug down over there. I have yet to make up my mind. I'm still kind of umming and ahhing about it because of the fact that the numbers are a little interesting. So let's jump back over there real quick, and I'm going to show you the numbers. Oh, crap. Nope. Nope. All right, so back to being the simple stuff once again. Let's take a look at this manufacturer. We're going to do a little bit of goofing with every one of these manufacturers, because by default, they want to sit with a really kind of a silly number for this particular recipe. Let me see if I can grab another one and build it. No. The particular number is 2.813, I think. So if I overclock this thing ever so slightly, just ever so slightly, 6%, you know, that wonderful number that I utterly can't stand, that makes it a number that's a little bit easier to do the math on all of the rest of this, because it evens them out to even numbers. 2.813 or whatever it is, all of these are point numbers. All these are decimal numbers, and they suck, which is kind of, again, why I don't like it. So what we're currently building right now, or at least what we're working on building right now, is all of the steel that is going to take to do both of these two recipes together once we sort this out. So once everything gets settled down and I figure out what's happy over there, I'm going to go ahead and start using some of that concrete to build all of these parts that we need in order to be able to make the encased industrial beams. It's going to take about 7 manufacturers to do what we're going to do. We're going to put 7 down. So all of those numbers are going to be multiplied by 7. It's still a fairly reasonable number if you look at a lot of these numbers for what we're building for this stuff right here, the encased industrial beams and the steel pipe and the concrete. It's a reasonable number. I mean, it's not that bad. The silliness happens when we get up here and we have to start looking at this recipe. So we're gonna have to do, we're gonna work on that probably in an episode. We're actually gonna sit down probably next time and work on this so that we can kind of get the idea of how many of these we're going to need, because it's gonna take 8 for 3 of them, which means we need to make a lot of them. And there's some really, really interesting recipes, and I'm actually kind of wanting to talk about some of those recipes, especially if you look at the fact that we have lots and lots and lots of steel capability in this area. So the first thing I think we're going to look at is this recipe right here. So that'll just kind of tell us exactly how much stuff we're going to need, but it's a 4 into whatever, all this kind of thing. It's a 7 into 1, a 5 into 1 for 4 kinds of things. It's a wonderful, another one of those reducing things down into a smaller recipe. Those encased industrial beams, I forget, was going to take me 15 of these things? I forget. See, 70. No, 17, 18 of those things, just to do what we're going to need to do. And that's a very simple, easy thing because we have plenty of concrete and plenty of steel. We're currently making the steel pipes just perfectly fine. We're using, of course, this recipe right here. Very, very, very simple. I think the fun part, why do I have both of these set up like this? I was sitting here messing around trying to do math, and that's why this episode's probably going to be a little late because me and my dumb brain couldn't quite grasp what we were doing. Oh, yes, we were looking at between these two. So if I did it again, get out of my inventory. Out. Thank you, auto save. All right, cool. Well, we can delete one of these. Actually, we'll leave this sitting here. So what we're looking at is we're trying to figure out what's going to be the least craziest idea to try to make things function the way I think we need to make things function. One of the interesting things here is the screw for the screw recipe for the reinforced iron plate. It makes 15 per minute. Put the button again. Iron plate. Iron plate. Iron plate. Iron plate, we have 3 recipes that we're currently can play with, and we're currently back in base using the stitched iron plate because of the fact that we have lots and lots and lots and lots of iron over there, and we're just doing it this way because it's a heck of a lot easier to do it this way than it was to do it this way. Now, this is kind of the same thing, except this is heck of a lot faster if you look at it. But the next alternate recipe for these things, at least the screw recipe, all this is doing is consolidating this recipe down into something so that you can cram many, many, many more screws into a single machine. It's just a way of you trying to be able to not have to put down like 30 of these things when you can just put down like 4 or 5. So one of those recipes that we're going to be looking at possibly is the screw recipe, because it's literally going to be able to eat that many screws in a minute to make this many of these things. And in order to make all of the steeled frames that we're going to be looking at, we're going to be using the steeled frame recipe because we're going to have lots of access to steel. We need 2 of these per minute. To make 3 of these, well, we need 8 of those. 8 times, what, 7? Something like that. So is 56 times 3 means we need to be making around 170 of these a minute, kind of thing, you know. So some of these recipes are very, 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 very handy. We're going to be looking at those as we go. Like I said, even like that right there, it's going to be 10, 12 of these machines just to make that amount of stuff. So the modular frames are going to be something that's going to take a little while. Now, the whole reason why I'm over here talking at this point before we go build some more stuff is that I'm on the fence right now as to whether we're going to use the standard screw recipe for this or the steel screw recipe for this. Now, the reasoning why this is interesting, and I'm going to say it right now, the reason why this is interesting is for a slide underclock, we can make one of these machines fill one of these. If you notice, for a slide underclock, without having to do anything other than take steel ingots and turn them into steel beams. However, this is inefficient. This is very inefficient. The only thing this is efficient on is energy. That's it. This recipe, since we have a recipe like so, let's see, I'm running out of room. I don't need you anymore. Get out of here. Since we have a recipe like this, the alternate steel rod, we're quadrupling the amount of iron rods we would normally get when we get a normal system thing like so. Where's the iron rod? Iron rod. If you look at the regular iron rod, it's 15. It's 1 into 1. It's a 1 into 1 kind of thing here. Well, every single steel ingot we're making and producing right now is technically like 2/3 of an ingot or 1/3 of an ingot, something like that. It's not quite a full iron ingot. Again, all these impure nodes over here are going to make all kinds of steel, and if we use smart recipes like this, you see that 1 into 4, and then the, well, wherever it's at. Is it this one? Yeah, 1 into 4, or yeah, the 1 into, again, 1 into 4. We make an awful lot of screws, but it's going to take an awful lot of machines and an awful lot of power to do it. When this one, unfortunately, this is an actual reduction in steel. You're taking 4 steel ingots, you're reducing them into 1 steel beam or whatever it is, and then you're producing 52 screws out of it. I think the number is something like 13 screws per minute, or 13 screws per piece of iron here versus the 12 to 13 versus like the 24 or something per piece of iron with the other way. So it just depends on how much we have at this point. And I'm saying that how much we have at this point because we're barely scratching the surface of the amount of coal that we're using from over there. And I mean barely. There's still 600 lines. There's 1,200 coal sitting over there not doing anything right now. So we might actually be a little inefficient for the sake of smaller footprint, faster production kind of thing. So anyhow, we're going to go back over here. We're going to start seeing how things are going to look, and we're going to go ahead and knock out those ICMBs, or ICMBs. Is that how you call them? Encased industrial beams? Yeah, whatever it is. We're going to go mess with those things real fast for the rest of the episode, and then we'll see where we are, because I've got a whole lot of building to do. All right, just so we get a little bit of building on camera, this shouldn't be too easy, too hard. It's only 18 of these things, right? So how much fun can we make with trying to make these things look interesting in one little positional area, right? So we can get 3... no, let me fly. No. If we do 3 like that... and then we rotate you, do something kind of similar, because I think what we'll do is we'll do an extra layer right here. Yes, that way we can do a little bit more room. God, it's so much easier to build when you can do this. Now what we are, like I said, what we are doing is we're trying to build on a kind of a specific grid. All of these buildings are going to be foundation widths apart from each other. Every single one is going to be on a foundational width apart from each other, which is going to allow us to later on come back here, kind of clean up the ground, maybe build in some roads, you know, some stuff like that, do some decorations and things, if we so care. Right now, I'm just kind of sitting here trying to figure out how we want to do this. So, we need 18 of these things. So, if I do... that... yes. Okay, and then we do something simple again. This is why I got this mod. Legit why we've got this mod. So all we have to do now, all I really have to do is kind of figure out if that's all the size I want. Hey, can I have my power back, please? I guess I got to do a little bit of this. While we're at it, I guess let me do power, because there are things the mod will copy. So click, click, go. And then I'm just going to do the worst. We're going to run it right straight through the back of it for good old time's sake. Okay. We're just doing that so we can kind of be able to fly around a little bit. So I do think I want to go one more back here. That way we have an even number of room on the back side and both edges. Everything kind of looks pretty good. We're somewhat reasonably... I mean, I guess I could do a little better job centering things. Let's do this. What I'm going to do is we're going to copy it out. We're going to do 3, copy it. We're going to do 3 levels of this, because, you know, 6 times 3. Just to try to keep some stuff from moving, you know, just keep things interesting. I want to kind of try to keep moving upwards, which, like, I think I may go ahead and tear that building apart and start over with it. All right, so let's do it a little bit like... now that I think I can do it this way, I want to put them in the center and make sure you rotate things correctly. We'll do a little bit of a gap. We'll just line them up with the edges like so. And then that should bring them reasonably close to that area. And we're going to have to delete you because you're in the way. I guess I don't have to do that much space, but whatever. As you get along and you start being able to build a little bit, I highly, build easier. Like being able to build from above and fly a little bit is an amazing thing, because it allows you to be able to look down and see exactly what the heck in the world is going on. So we want to copy all of this and move it up a layer. So unfortunately, I don't have the correct foundation underneath of us, so we need to go like this. Yeah, no. We're good. Just go that way. This is where the simplicity of this comes in, and for that matter, I could probably build it faster with the area actions mod. Not area actions, the smart mod. because smart tends to be a little bit more interesting. Time when you're doing special setups like this, especially the thing that I'm going to probably do is the usual ups and downs of things. But yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and do this, and then let's just go ahead and get it to place those forests simply. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, where is my thing? I need this inventory to here. Again, area actions, fairly simple. Where did you go? Why didn't you go into my inventory? Is that it right there? All right. Corner. Of course, we're going to lose our flight. Corner. Corner. And corner. Set the bottom. That bottom. And I'm going to leave the top, so that it'll copy this line for us. Hopefully it'll put it where it needs to go. And then we're gonna go copy paste Z12 because it's 12. We'll preview that and hide it. Did it get most of the concrete? That's the thing. You need to get a little bit further out into the concrete so it can get an idea of what you want it to exactly do. Cool. All right. Okay. Cool. Done. And then we can just do this. Did you put it down? Yes. Yeah, like it's kind of picky about where things go, especially with like that little section right there. I guess it is what it is. We're fine. Done. And then we go underneath again. We'll hit the button. We're going to set the top, which is going to be there. I don't want it to do it again. And then I should be able to just say, once again, copy, paste 24. Paste a location. Nope. 24, preview. You didn't listen to me, did you? No. No. Set clear top. There. Do it again. Set clear top. I don't want you to copy that chunk of stuff above us. Thank you very much. Once again, copy, paste. Since we're moving it from the bottom clear up, we do 24. Preview. If you do it, I guess I don't really care at this point. Okay. Fine. Good. So that should give us 1, 2, 3 floors of roughly the same general setup. Why is it doing this? It didn't listen to me. It didn't decide to... It copied too much once again. Okay, fine. We can get rid of this for right now. We don't need a roof. Hey, autosave, all right. I guess we're at a point where we can actually do a little bit more looking. I know it's kind of ragtag just all over the place. We are going to eventually decorate everything, but I did go ahead and hook in the pipe into the new building. This building has now got a, well, it's belted, and all we got to do is turn on one little wire in order to be able to do a few things. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy. Ran the concrete over here and kind of did a little bit of work. I still need to build a little bit of some, need to come up with some more suspension bridge ideas or something like that, so that our stuff like this is not just hanging out in the air, so that like that's kind of okay. I think I'm gonna have to work on it a little better, but anyhow, we're gonna continue on forward. So we do have a little bit of a smart splittering going on back here. Give me my right thing so I can jump in here and look. Both of these 2 floors make 480. We're gonna need 504, I think, to do all that work. At least that's what we figured it out. So what I've done is I've sent this 480 out to the bottom 2 sections, and I've sent this 480 out to the top section, and then they're going to work through that smart splitter, and whatever's left once we get to the point of start building whatever else we'll need, they'll just shunt the excess out this direction, which likely means the majority of the top is going to go out that direction, and the majority of the bottom is, well, the majority of the bottom, it's 2 sections is going to go over here. So let's go give it a plug-in, and let's hope things are functional. I should have everything ready to go, I think. I don't know if I like that idea. Maybe I do that first. And oh, right. I forgot we did this. I had to build a couple of things. Building on a grid is a building on a grid kind of fun thing. If you're going to build on a grid, one of the big things to do is don't build on half sections. Don't build on half walls. if you want to not drive yourself utterly crazy. So this building is a half a wall shorter than this one is. The foundation here is half a wall shorter than this one is. So we had to kind of make up for that difference using a couple of towers. This is kind of the way you can kind of make things look a little bit interesting, is to force yourself to come up with a way to fix things. So now we have two little lift towers on both sides of this building that are allowing us to match up with this building and that one. So that one, even it ended up being a half an inch, well, half a foundation, a short foundation, half a wall under that. So yeah, turn it on. Power, turn it on. And then let's go inside, and we need to do one more thing, which we have not done yet. So let's do this. There's only one of them. Do I still have it with me? Yes. There. Should have power on all levels. I just need to do this, and then everybody should go to work. I guess I should use this from now on to start things. So, set recipe, select, search, industrial pipe. Okay. I see a lot of movement. Let's clear and then scroll off of that so it doesn't bother us. I see a lot of movement. Oh. You need to go over here. They were coming down from the bottom. Are we coming back up from the top? Yes, we should be. Again, this is a very slow process. This is going to make like 73 or 4 or 5 a minute, right? 4 times 18, so 72 per minute. 72 per minute is all we're going to need to be able to make quite a few of those things, quite a few of our current little project that we're doing on. So modular frames, heavy modular frames, if we're looking in there. We say we need about 7.2 or something like that. We're actually going to make a little over on everything. We only needed 70 to be able to make set up 7 heavy modular frames. But again, 7 times 3, 21. So we should be making just a hair over some of the numbers that we're looking for. But at least right now, everything in this area should, as once it winds up and goes to work, be running, because we've got awesome syncs on all of our outputs. And I should be able to kind of gauge where we're going to be. I think we're still fine at this point. How much are we making? Not bad. Not bad. The worst part about this is we're going to be turning this stuff on. We're just going to turn it on. We're going to let it run. And as we make more and more and more expensive pieces, we're going to make more and more and more and more of this. And this is going to continuously go up. And of course, the base is running right now, making the same amount of stuff too. So the next step is going to be the next episode. Next episode, we're going to start working on the next hard project, which is going to be building the regular modular frames, these guys, using likely this recipe, which is see, some of the steel. We're going to actually have to start making more steel for this, because I'm not making the steel for this, but this is part of the fun. So we're going to have to figure out whether we're going to use the steel from over here, if we're going to make more, or if we're going to take some more steel and build it in over in that section over here, because I think the modular frames complete will be built either on that rock in that valley or down here up through this area, depending on where we're going to build it. The main heavy modular frame factory, I think, is going to be behind this stinky rock section, like right back there. And the interesting thing again is there's enough copper and enough caterium in this area that I think we could even build the next step. But I think the next step is, well, the next step. When I say next step's probably likely going to be AI limiters when we get to that point, so that we can start making massive amounts of things. Radio control units. Radio control units are likely going to get built up here, somewhere around in this area, because we're going to need a massive amount of aluminum, which means likely the final product that we're going to be building, that last, well, I say the final product, the other next modular frame, the next modular frame, the next ones, where are we? Give me the thing. These, the fuse modular frames, because they're going to require these plus an ungodly amount of aluminum and nitrogen, we're going to be making aluminum generally right in here, and there's a massive nitrogen node right there. So those are likely going to we're going to likely ship these up the hill over there and then build everything up there as far as those go. And since the radio control units will have already been built up there, we will likely be completing the project either up here or somewhere around in that area. I don't know yet. I haven't made up my mind. I'm trying to save those there's a bunch of copper. Give me my map again. Map. I'm trying to... We'll end here shortly. I know. I'm prattling. I'm trying to save a bunch of copper. There's a pile of copper right down here that if we can... Yeah, right here. I think it's right here, or it's right over here. One of these two. Around one of these holes is a whole bunch of copper that we're going to need in order to be able to make those nuclear pasta, because we need a massive amount of copper in order to be able to make the nuclear pasta. But that's going to be a long time from now. If we're lucky, we'll start working on some of this other things. Again, this is a as-we-go project, so I think, again, next time we're going to work on the modular frames, and then probably the episode after that, we're going to go ahead and build those thrusters and get them started working on things. So for now, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I've been having a lot of fun with this, and I'm, again, thankful for everybody showing up for watching some of the silliness. I know it's just me being silly is the way things go, but it's working, and we're having fun. So till then, see y'all. Bye.